evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripodak.
And I'm Joe Fernandez from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to
Balitang Pambansa.
Tonight's headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. acknowledges the country's long-standing partnership with Indonesia during the inauguration of President Prabowo Subianto. Latest survey results show an increase in President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s trust and satisfaction ratings. Alert level status for the Bicol region has been raised to red in anticipation of the possible effects of Tropical Depression Christine. The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, holds a trade fair featuring local products from various regions as part of its 82nd anniversary celebration. The Aayan Center for Biodiversity launches its first interactive learning hub in Los Baños, Laguna. Friendship between nations can be nurtured by engaging in meaningful and beneficial partnerships. In the case of the nation's leaders being part of milestones, like what the leader of the land and his wife witnessed in Indonesia, goes a long way in facilitating a successful transition of power and a continuation of a journey towards the achievement of mutual goals. PTV's Cosel Padilla has the full report.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. congratulated the new president of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, following his inauguration, which was personally attended by the first couple. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos witnessed the inauguration of the president of Southeast Asia's largest economy. Prabowo Subianto was formally sworn in as the 8th President of Indonesia alongside the youngest Vice President, Gibran Rakabubing Raka, yesterday at the House of Representatives building in Jakarta. The first couple was invited by then outgoing Indonesian President Joko Widodo to participate in the significant celebration. In his message, President Marcos expressed his and the First Lady's delight in being part of this occasion, which is special for friends and the international community. The president recognized Indonesia as a long-standing partner and close friend of the Philippines in the region. He emphasized the desire to further enhance the relationship between the two countries on this historic occasion, coinciding with the upcoming 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Philippines and Indonesia in November. This is not the first time the two leaders met. Prabowo paid a courtesy call on President Marcos Jr. in Malacanang in September, a few months after his election victory. Both leaders promised to strengthen the alliance between their countries. Thus, President Marcos Jr.'s visit is a testament to the deep and strong friendship between the Philippines and Indonesia. It also symbolizes the commitment of both countries to expand and improve bilateral relations. Meanwhile, President Marcos Jr. acknowledged the contributions of former Indonesian President Widodo in fostering cooperation between the two nations. In 2022, Indonesia was the first state visit of President Marcos Jr., where he was warmly received by Widodo, who later visited the Philippines in January this year. From PTV, Cosel Padilla, Balitang Pambansa.
Meanwhile, the president's job approval and trust ratings are on the rise. More than enough proof of the satisfactory work he's been on lifting up the lives of Filipinos. PTV's Bien Manalo sums up the details in this report.
In times of stressful and partisan politics, it is more difficult to maintain public trust in elected leaders in the country. But we are looking for characteristics of a reliable and trustworthy leader.
Yung puso niya nasa mahirap. Kung ano mga kailangan sa taong yung kapos, matugunan niya.
Dapat po sila talaga ay mayroong sariling paninindigan at saka po ay kung ano po yung tama, yun po ang dapat gawin.
Based on the latest survey of Tangere, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s satisfaction and trust ratings slightly increased this October. From 46.40% last September, it increased to 46.90% this month. Who said they were satisfied with the performance of President Marcos Jr. The trust in President Marcos kicked up to 59.30% this month from 58.80% last month. The highest satisfaction and trust rate was recorded in the northern and central Luzon among 18 to 35 years old.
Dahil nakikita na rin ng mga kababayan natin yung mga nailay down ng mga programa, particularly doon sa infrastructure development, doon sa job creation, economic self-sufficiency, food security, combating inflation, tsaka yung ating foreign policy.
Meanwhile, Vice President Sara Duterte's trust ratings went down. From 56.80% in September, it dropped to 56% this October. Her satisfaction rating is also lagging. Last month, it was 48.70%, but today, it's led to 48%. Central and Northern Luzon and Metro Manila recorded the most numbers, saying they are dissatisfied and have lost confidence in the Vice President. According to Professor Kalilong, the Vice President's previous press con has affected the lowering of her satisfaction and trust ratings.
May mga binitawang pahayag si VP Duterte na medyo, sabihin na natin medyo taliwas doon sa inaasahan natin, no? Of a public official na may ganun kataas na estado kagaya ng ating Vice President. May mga iba ron na binanggit siya na hindi siguro masasabi natin hindi doon sa sensitivities natin mga Pilipino.
Meanwhile, 52% or 3 in every 5 Filipinos said they are satisfied with the performance of Senate President Chis Escudero. Escudero remains the highest rated government official in the country. The trust ratings of Speaker Martin Romualdez also grew from 56.40% to 57%. It has been recognized in Northern Luzon, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, and Eastern Visayas. The trust and satisfaction ratings of the highest government officials were conducted from October 16 to October 19, in which 2,000 respondents participated in the survey. From PTV, Bien Manalo, Balitang Pambansa.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. was commended by international leaders for the country's successful hosting of the Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, or APM-CDRR. According to UN Secretary-General Special Representative and Head of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, Kamal Kishore, the country has set a new standard for future Asian ministerial conferences on disaster risk reduction. The UN official also called the president's commitment an inspiring example for global leaders.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Civil Defense, or OCD, reported the Bicol region was placed on red alert status by the Regional Risk Reduction and Management Council, or the RDRRMC, due to Tropical Depression Christine. According to the OCD, the Charlie Protocol represents the highest level of emergency readiness requiring urgent action from both the RDRRMC and local DRRMCs to protect communities and ensure efficient response during weather disturbances. Meanwhile, 30 million individuals in several regions could be affected by Tropical Depression Christine.
Department of the Local and Interior Government, or DILG Secretary John Vicremulia, urged local government units, or LGUs, to be vigilant and gear up for Tropical Depression Christine. The DILG Secretary instructed LGUs to gather local disaster risk reduction and management councils for risk assessments and to hold regular meetings to ensure preparedness. LGUs are directed to conduct evacuations in high-risk areas and follow guidelines for preparedness, prioritizing the safety of responders and evacuees, and ensuring supplies are ready is essential.
The Department of Agriculture, or DA, urged farmers and fisher folk to harvest early in preparation for the possible impact of Tropical Depression Christine. According to Philippine news agency's report, the DA Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Operations Center called on farmers and fisher folk to harvest mature crops and mobilize post-harvest equipment and facilities. Fishers were advised to avoid sea travel considering rough seaboard conditions and to secure fishing vessels on higher rounds. Meanwhile, Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian has directed the Disaster Response Management Group, or DRMG, to be on high alert and be prepared to provide aid and resource augmentation to all local government units along the track of Tropical Depression Christine. The center of Tropical Depression Christine was estimated at 780 kilometers east of Catarman, northern Samar, with maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 70 kilometers per hour, and is moving west at 15 kilometers per hour. Rains and gusty winds will fall in Bicol region, eastern Visayas and Quezon. Meanwhile, based on Pag-asa's latest weather forecast, cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms will be felt in Metro Manila, Mimaropa, Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, Caraga, Barm, Aurora, the rest of Calabarzon, and the rest of Visayas. The rest of the country will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms caused by the trough of Christine.
Up next, the Presidential Communications Office holds a trade fair in Malacanang.
The construction of housing units under the Marcos administration's 4PH continues. More news awaits when Balitang Pambansa returns.
Karamihan sa amin ay nag-asawa na lang, walang pinag-aralan, hindi po kami educated. Bakit ipinanganak ako na IP ako na parang walang mga opportunity na para sa amin?
Nagbabaon kami, kanin lang, ang ulam, bagong, gano'n. Talagang wala nang kaya ang magulang ko.
Hango sa kwento ng mga totoong tao. Tahanan ng mga award-winning documentaries. Public Eye sa PTV. Disaster Watch. Mga paalala pagkatapos ng lindol. Suriin ang iyong sarili at mga kasama kung may tinamong pinsala. Magbigay ng paunang lunas kung kailangan. Unahin ang mga pangangailangan ng mga matatanda, buntis, may kapansanan at mga bata. Kung nasa tabing dagat at may banta ng tsunami, agad na lumikas papunta sa ligtas at mataas na lugar. Suriin kung may natapong nakalalasong kemikal at mga bagay na maaaring pagmula ng sunog. Huwag bumalik sa loob ng gusali hanggat walang abiso na ligtas na ito. Sa panahon ng sakuna, dapat laging listo.
The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, is celebrating its 82nd year of service and relevance. And for a deeper and meaningful commemoration, the PCO held a multi-product fair in Malacanang today that showcased a wide array of products from the various regions and provinces. Among them, handicrafts like native bags, bracelets, trinkets, earrings, and personal accessories feature indigenous or homegrown components. And what would be a fair without the food on the offering or agenda? Coffee nuts, berries from the Cordilleras, cashew nuts from Bataan, sweet treats from Iloilo and Bacolod, egg rolls and deep-fried and wrapped plantains, among others. The trade fair opens at 9 in the morning and closes at 5 in the afternoon and will be on until the 23rd of the month, so check it out while you can.
Meanwhile, the Department of National Defense, or DND, reported the high-ranking defense officials from the country and the U.S. discussed the upgrade of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, and the potential conclusion of the General Security of Military Information Agreement by the end of the year. According to Philippine News Agency report, this came following the first ever visit by U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary for Defense, South and Southeast Asia, Laura Apdigrove, along with other ranking officials from the Defense Department on October 17. Meanwhile, DND spokesperson Assistant Secretary Arsenio Andulong said that U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense's first visit to the country served as her introduction to DND officials and allowed discussions on the progress of the Philippines-U.S. Defense Alliance, along with the recent developments in the West Philippine Sea.
The University of the Philippines in Los Baños, Laguna has a first-of-its-kind educational facility. Thanks to Aayan Center for Biodiversity, this interactive hub affords interested minds to engage in experiencing diversity and efforts in environmental conservation. As we hear more from PIA Calabarzon's Ana Mole.
In partnership with the Small Grants Program, Explore Aayan provides immersive learning experiences to promote the Aayan Center for Biodiversity, or the ECB, the Aayan Heritage Parks Program, and other regional conservation efforts by raising public awareness on the value of biological resources and promote stakeholder engagement. The Learning Resource Center is not only a repository for information. It also includes interactive displays, motion games, virtual reality, and augmented reality features for a more immersive experience in environmental conservation. Explore Aayan emphasizes the role of education and increased public awareness in driving conservation initiatives. The Knowledge Hub is expected to enhance public understanding of the region's rich biodiversity and support researchers, policymakers, educators, and conservationists in protecting Southeast Asia's unique ecosystem. The ACB has also launched a widespread social media presence to reach a broader audience by sharing content highlighting the Knowledge Hub's modern and dynamic features that appeal to students and younger age groups. Explore Aayan opens every day and offers services free of charge. From the Philippine Information Agency Calabarzon, Ana Mole, Balitang, Pambansa.
As the election draws near, more and more aspirants and political parties will be busy in recalibrating their respective strategies to ensure success. That is why this is the Early Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, is already busy attending to various petitions and requests that will affect the available choices of voters come Election Day. PTV's Luisa Erispe has more.
Now that the COMELEC has revealed some of the names of the aspirants for the 2025 national and local elections, the Commission on Elections is now swamped with petitions and requests. And one of these is from KOJC leader Apollo Kibuloy, who is now asking for the COMELEC to let him run for senator as an independent candidate. Based on the letter submitted by Kibuloy's camp, this to resolve the intra-party issue of the Workers and Peasants Party, which first endorsed Kibuloy when he filed his COC.
Dami naman mga political parties na nag-invite kay Pastor na maging guest candidate. So, with or without a party, Pastor Kibuloy can run the campaign.
The party also filed a cancellation of Kibuloy's CONA last week, insisting his CONA was signed by an unauthorized representative. But Kibuloy said he will still support the party regardless of his choice to run as independent.
Ayaw niyang ma-involve sa any intra-party disputes. But nagpapasalamat pa rin siya sa Workers and Party Philippines, sa Workers and Peasants Party. Nagpapasalamat pa rin si Pastor for the nomination. And he will maintain pro-God, pro-Filipino, and pro-Philippines platform.
For the Commission on Elections, there will be no effect for the aspiring senator's candidacy. Independent or not, he was already included in the list of qualified senatorial aspirants.
As far as the COMELEC is concerned, we made a decision sa candidate regardless as to whether he is an independent candidate or a candidate with political party. Now, dahil nasa may mga issue na ganyan, we will have to resolve later.
Aside from Kibuloy, there was also a petitioner who filed for disqualification against the candidacy of former President Rodrigo Duterte, House Speaker Martin Romualdez, Governor Matthew Marcos from Manotoc, Ilocos Norte, Senator Cynthia Villar, and Vice Governor Peter Cua of Catanduanes. All of them are running for local positions. For their part, petitioners of Alyansa ng Nagkakaisang Mamamayan or ANIM is not in favor of political dynasty.
Very clear siguro by statistics, by sa data na pag dominated talaga ng political dynasty, tingnan nyo. And it's spreading not just in the country but all over. I don't know, I went around Asia also, marang gumaganon na rin eh.
Another who submitted an appeal to COMELEC was a group of senatorial aspirants who were not included on the initial list of those qualified to run for the 2025 polls. One of them is the former lawyer and also a nominee of a party list. He believes he should not be declared nuisance candidate and COMELEC should revisit and scrutinize their qualifications.
There are only 3 reasons under the law that you can use as grounds para ipa-deklara mo na walang intensyon ng isang tao na tumakbo sa kahit anong electoral post. Makakainsulto ba ang pagtakbo ko? Hindi!
The COMELEC admits their office has been receiving several petitions and appeals. As a matter of fact, some 246 have been received by their latest count. The COMELEC assures the public to resolve the petitions before November ends. Meanwhile, the COMELEC is also preparing for the polls and campaign period. Today, they signed a partnership deal with social media technology companies such as Meta, Google, and ByteDance, which handle TikTok, Facebook, X, YouTube, and other social media sites. This to rally against the misuse of social media and the spread of fake news. From PTV, Luisa Erispe, Balitang Pambansa.
Meanwhile, the shackles of poverty will easily be shattered when the community comes together to find and take the necessary steps to be rid of such crippling problem. That's why stakeholders in Iloilo and Antique have pledged commitment to support the government's programs to finally rid the area of this menace. PIA Iloilo's Lilibeth Aguilar French has the details.
As a commitment against poverty, various stakeholders led by the National Anti-Poverty Commission and Mayor Nilo Bungbong Tupas signed the Pledge of Commitment, forging cooperation and invaluable support for the call to end poverty and uplift the lives of the poor. The signing of the Pledge of Commitment was one of the highlights during the celebration of the National Day for Overcoming Extreme Poverty in Barotac Viejo Town in Iloilo Province. In his message, Mayor Nilo Tupas said his municipality is one with NAPS's goal in the fight against poverty and in attaining a single-digit poverty rate by 2028, citing their different programs implemented to support this agenda, including scholarship programs for students and assistance to less privileged constituents through their social services.
Rest assured that the local government unit of Barotac Viejo is one in your fight and crusade against poverty and to lower the poverty percentage, not just in Barotac Viejo, but in the whole Philippines.
NAPSI Undersecretary Esna Enteng Katong stressed the importance of the activity commemorated worldwide, with the theme Ending Social and Institutional Maltreatment, Acting Together for Just, Peaceful, and Inclusive Societies, emphasizing the importance of a collaborative, whole-of-society approach to addressing poverty. Also marking the commemoration was a wreath-laying activity before a replica of the commemorative stone marker or Bato ng Buhay in front of the Barotac Viejo Municipal Gym, serving as a reminder of the continuing campaign to combat poverty. Another replica of the Bato ng Buhay or Stone of Life is installed in Western Visayas. This is found in the municipality of Aniniye in the province of Antique. Commemorative activities were also conducted during the day, including a wreath-laying ceremony led by National Anti-Poverty Commission Director Alexis Lapis, Mayor Max Fiel, Policar, and other local and government officials. From PIA Iloilo, Lilibeth Aguilar-French for Balitang, Pambansa.
Secretary of National Defense Gilberto Chodoro Jr. emphasized the government's obligation to support veterans during the 78th anniversary of the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office. He proposed transforming the Veterans Memorial Medical Center into a broader veterans medical service to improve healthcare access nationwide and decentralize financial assistance. Chodoro also stressed the need for preventative care for armed forces personnel and called for veteran support in the government's defense initiatives.
Meanwhile, the development of condominium-type housing under the President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s Pambansang Pabahay para sa mga Pilipino program or 4PH is progressing, with some buildings nearing completion. Secretary of Human Settlements and Urban Development Jose Rizalino Acuzar announced 53 projects are underway in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Key projects include Crystal Peak Estates in Pampanga and People's Vale in Davao City. The program aims to provide quality housing for citizens, featuring public parks and amenities to promote wellness. Ongoing inspections by DHSUD officials ensure adherence to timelines and quality standards. The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, received the grand prize at the 2024 Excellence Structure Awards from the Korean Institute of Bridge and Structural Engineering for the Pangil Bay Bridge project. Inaugurated on September 27, the 3.7-kilometer bridge connects Tangub City and Tubod, making it the longest sea crossing bridge in Mindanao. Funded by Korean Development Assistance, it represents advanced engineering and significant regional development. DPWH and the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, or PICE, are also preparing for an upcoming national convention to further support infrastructure initiatives. Senior Undersecretary Emil Sadain accepted the award in South Korea.
The Sorsogon Sports Arena, inaugurated by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., is a new facility in the Bicol region for national and international sporting events, Radyo Pilipinas reports. Designed like the Rome's Coliseum, it can seat 12,000, expandable to 20,000, and features 139 rooms and a rubberized track. The president called it symbol of progress for the region, honoring local athlete Isidro Del Prado. The Philippine Sports Commission aims to use it as a training center with plans for the Southeast Asian Archery Federation Championships in March 2025.
Parang nagsishake, nagre-ripple effect. Dapat sana yung ibang LGU will also create their own sports program. Yung national training should be dispersed all over the country, and Sorsogon should be one of the regional training center for national athletes para we can find more Carlos Yulo.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripaudak, and this is
Balitang Pambansa.